Greetings, card chefs, and welcome back to the TCG Kitchen. I'm your host, Gojo Creations, and today we will be doing another casual deck showcase and our first ever comment suggestion from you all in the last video. That's right. So if you checked out the last Herald Bloom video, you may have noticed that I put a little comment that said, hey, go ahead and suggest something that you want to see in the next video, and that is going to be this comment right here from a wonderful commenter, Aggie Firefly. DPS Kokomi, been playing it recently with Treasure and Cryo Res, basically wins every game. Well, I'll take your word for it, my friend, because we have a DPS Kokomi right here, and this deck is not only very near and dear to my heart, but also has a pretty big history. But of course, before we get to that, I gotta explain how it actually works. So the basics of it is pretty simple. You're gonna have Mona as a pivot point, who can easily allow you to fast swap into Beidou and get instant reactions like what we're gonna do right here. And then overall, Mona is just a good point, really easy space to also enable Hydro Res, the one that will heal the entire party. We'll see that come into play later. And then the other meat and potatoes is going to be Beidou. Beidou, one of the less valued coordinated attackers. She requires Spirit Energy to burst, but then she gets Stormbreaker, which will deal electro damage. We don't really have anyone else who does that in the game, but this is super valuable for Kokomi because she doesn't, she does an okay amount of damage with her normal attacks, but being able to AoE, is generally more preferred, for her play style. It's really helpful, especially with the damage reduction that Stormbreaker also gives, to really ensure that survivability, because Kokomi likes to play a little slower, and of course Beidou enables that slower stuff with Tide Caller, and that's kind of the basics of the deck. We'll get into more complex stuff as we go on, but yes, this is a deck, and specifically this lineup that has quite the long history, in GITCG, surprisingly enough. Beidou and Kokomi, never really the strongest characters. They've achieved some changes here and there, but there has been one player inside the GITCG Discord server, link in the description, you all know where it is, who's been very determined to play this combination, or at least Kokomi at base, and then, figuring out that Beidou is their best character, and kind of rolling from there. That would be Curb or Lumi in the Discord server. If you check their tournament history throughout the tournaments, every single time, ever since these characters have come out, they have tried super hard to play these characters consistently, and every time, every single new patch, they come up with some new iteration. And it was pretty much with the release of Veterans Visage, which is the last time we did see it. So what I did is that I went back into the tournament spreadsheets, which are all public, by the way. If you're in our server, just go ahead and check the tournaments tab, and then you can go ahead and grab yourself any deck lists that people play. So you like, again, that's where you got to go to if you want to find it. But yeah, this is where I grabbed this deck list. I've been very keenly aware of it because it's been such a long-standing deck list for one person. Every time we're commentating matches, we still do streams. It's like, oh my goodness, I know exactly who that is. It's really cool to see Kokomi finally come to light, because when Kokomi released all the way back in version 3.5, I tried to do the same thing, trying literally anything possible with Kokomi. And at the time, Beidou hadn't received her buffs. She used to only do 2 on Tide Caller, which was super weak. Also, the shield had some weird interactions, so it was really rough, honestly, back then. I tried, I literally labbed for 3 weeks, trying to make the best Kokomi deck, and it really was, a tough time. But it's probably one of my most fond memories of TCG. The first time I really tried to force myself to try and do something new. But yes, nowadays we have a lot of new things like Veterans Visage as well as Treasure, which you will see come to play really soon. I know people are sort of tired of the Treasure decks, but don't worry. Things are changing because the next patch is coming. While Treasure necessarily might not be removed, things are going to be pretty different next month. I'm sure if you've seen the stream, we're going to have freaking 12 characters, right? And then a gazillion new cards, which of course we will be covering on this channel. I'll be talking about a little more later. But yeah, let's just enjoy the match right now, see how it goes. Mona is going to go down, going to have her to sacrifice. Again, choose that pivot point, gives you that fast swap if you need to escape from Beidou and then go back onto her afterwards. And now we start popping off with Treasure. We've got our good old Hydro Res to trigger Veterans off field, and that's going to be one of the fun facts that we learned today, is that yes, Veterans, unlike other cards, in the game, can trigger off field. There's the Vorukasha set, the pink artifact that I just call it because it's the only one that's ever going to be pink, but it is one of the few ones that can't trigger off field because, for game balance reasons. But this one can, because it requires a more stringent condition, and it also, works off of piercing damage as well. So that's a really fun fact that you want to keep in mind, especially when you're playing with Veterans Visage. Keep that in mind. You know, you can trigger it off field. You can use some sort of AoE healing or piercing or receiving piercing to sort of get it rolling. And yeah, I mean, it's just keep treasuring. That's how you do it. And now we get Gamblers locked and loaded. Boom, that's one normal attack. And then here comes Thunder Beast's charge. Boom, Herald is out of here. No talent trigger. Now I am going to get frozen, but this is where, you know, Beidou can have a little bit of a chance to shine because, you know, that's pretty scary. And, you know, you don't want to lose Kokomi in this deck. You know, at all costs, if you can protect Kokomi, it's definitely worth it. Beidou and Mona can work out in an end game, but it's definitely not the best. There we go. Yeah, I just get Lotus up on there so I don't die. And now I can start using my normal attacks. I'm going to crush down, drop a lightning bolt. Kokomi's nice and safe. Oh, hey, look, there's treasure. I have 2 more attacks available to myself, or really just 1 more. There we go. That's 1 healing, 2 damage across the board, and then the lightning strike is going to come down and finish off our. I think we just simulated the Inazuma War, you know, if it was properly animated. But yes, that is the basics on Treasure Kokomi. Now we're going to move on to another match. I did do a lot of matches, but you know, only a few that I will actually pick out properly. So let's move into the next match. Here we go. Here we go. This is a Nuvilet Ajdaha deck, and this one, oh boy, it is pretty difficult. You know, I struggled with the Claws of Defeat when doing this deck, but yeah, it's just generally just a really cool deck. And also initially a cool fun fact, you know, while we're getting to the dice roll here, is that Cleveland, you know, as I was making this deck from the comment section, you know, at the same time, Kulumi actually in the TCG Decklist channel released their version with Tartaglia over Mona, which makes a lot of sense. Tartaglia is super high, super valuable Hydro DPS who can, you know, be run even as alongside other DPS at the same time because he just does so much damage. You know, so and they released that, and they were actually planning on making a video, I think, but they haven't had the chance to release it before the patch, but they probably will. So, you know, I'll link that below, you know, in the comment section if that ever does come up. But they also have a spreadsheet with all their CTG games, you know, with it, and that's a lot of good data, you know, if you're really trying to be the ultimate Kokomi main. So definitely check that out. You know, I'll go ahead and link it below if it ever comes out, or just join the Discord. That's also an option. But yes, another one of the matches right here, just rolling through it, rolling through the punches, using Lumen Stone, you know, using other 2 cards to trigger Lumen Stone, get it ready and prepped. You know, for the incoming onslaught that is Ajdaha Bennett, because oh boy, 5 damage Geo, and then, you know, he stacks up and becomes Avatar the Last Airbender, Master of all elements. My goodness, it really is a sight to behold. There we go. Use Timaeus for a free costing, and then we're gonna trigger Lumen Stone. There we go. Place it on Kokomi, and then I also have Hydro Res to force that. Even though I healed for 0 value, I get 2 dice, and that is pretty huge when I need to make actions right here. And, you know, another thing here, Beidou is great for, you know, stall, because passing the turn priority to your opponent is a good thing. Always keep this in mind, because, you know, being forced to attack in sometimes can, you know, make you not as commonly anymore, but, you know, trigger things like I haven't lost yet, or, you know, trigger an opponent's veteran so they get an extra dice, all sorts of things. You know, that you don't want to happen right away, and you can force an opponent, especially if they're on 0 dice, to end their turn. You know, going second is a really powerful tool, you know, that hasn't been used too much in the TCG. Of course, we have Herald, right? But Herald, you know, opts for the more damage-oriented side of things because he has 2 Hydro applications of the sort, and then, you know, these sort of counter-type characters, which I do believe we actually have another, I believe it's Yunjin in the next patch. I'm very excited to see Yunjin, one of my favorite characters. You know, so that's gonna be, you know, a great pleasure to me to play, you know, with more characters that I like. Kokomi, of course, is also one of them. That's why I went so hard originally when they were, you know, first released. And, you know, now there really hasn't been much changes overall to the kit. But yeah, here we go. I'm going to forcibly full treasure a little early because I know that Ajdaha is going to be stomping for tons of damage. Yeah, there we go. They even have the dice, and there we go. Dice, and then passes turn prio. That makes it so I'm forced to do something about this Ajdaha incoming. And, you know, I barely even have any moves left. You know, I even use just Minty Meat rolls to make sure that I can maintain, you know, some semblance of stuff. But there we go. 5 damage onto Kokomi. Ouch. Really big deal. But I have treasure. I'm going to see if I can draw anything out of my hand. Nice. I have Lotus. So I'm going to strap it onto Beidou and then force Ajdaha to drop his burst. That's one of the things, definitely, if you're worried about Stormbreaker, you know, losing it, it's more important that Kokomi stays alive, to be honest. You can definitely eke out an endgame with Mona and Beidou, but it's really unlikely, you know. There is a Catalyst in this deck which you can strap onto Mona, and then she'll do, you know, pretty relatively close to Kokomi because it only boosts from Nereus Ascension. Really the big deal and why you want to run it is because she only gets a +1 on normal attack damage, but the healing you know, AoE healing to your entire team. Super duper useful, and we'll see that as we go on. But there we go. You know, I noticed that this person's out of dice, so I go ahead and move to Mona. Give it, you know, once again, I talked about that free pivot point, you know, to give you free reign to move over to Beidou. Now, the other round, I do believe I had Lee Su still in the deck. I was just using that kind of like as a benchmark. I ended up switching to Calc's Arts, which, you know, to be honest, like, both of the cards are kind of ineffective to an extent. It's pretty hard to, you know, not run some form of energy generation inside these decks because, you know, for whatever reason, you really need to speed it up. You know, if you face a situation like this where Asia is about to, like, you know, drop a giant burst on you, thankfully I have that. And there we go, Calcs. This is the time where it's super useful. Gets me out of dodge, and then I heal, and then I trigger veterans, and then another veterans. Oh yeah, we're cooking, baby. But yes, for the most part, I would definitely consider adding a strategize to this deck. Not having on-demand draw really sucked for me, to be honest. So, you know, that's something you can consider if you're doing that. Tune away my cards to, you know, once again, pass the turn priority, push over to my opponent. There we go. They're going to go ahead and drop the burst. Really powerful burst, by the way. That's going to be 4 + 2, which is, you know, that's a lot of damage. So 6 damage cross, and Beidou's able to survive just 1 because of -1 damage reduction and that Lotus Crest I played earlier. And then there we go. Heal it up. Got Boar Princess, probably going to replace an artifact. Yep. And now Beidou will fall. I haven't lost yet is an okay card in this deck. You know, I do have it in here. Not the most consistent thing though, especially if you draw it early and, you know, you can't do anything about it. There's no Sumera Res to reshuffle. There we go. Use that and that. And now I have to play that weapon there on purpose because otherwise my normal attack wouldn't do enough damage because I don't have Nereid's Ascension, no bonus damage just yet. But now I can go ahead and get this bonus damage from here. And then also it counts as a charge attack, so we just go ahead and tune something off. And then we drop a normal here. And, you know, it really would have been nice to play Gamblers, but unfortunately that's not in the cards right now. We don't have Boar Princess, which is another card you can consider running a duplicate of. I only had 1 copy of Boar Princess in here, just because I felt like it was, you know, the most logical, but you know, definitely I felt the cringe of not drawing it or messing my breakpoints sometimes. Absolutely, you know, that came across, but you know, just gotta hold out. This scared me a lot. They started drawing out the wazoo and also dropping magic. I'm like, oh nah, don't do this to me. But yeah, there we go. Once again, Thunder Beast Charge, super duper useful, you know, holding out that damage reduction. Otherwise Kokomi, you know, obviously not in lethal yet, but, you know, making sure I hold out just enough time, you know, to be enough. And, you know, that, again, that's the great value of Kokomi. You know, since she can give that healing on her burst, keep in mind, for the most part, you're in this kind of deck, you're really only using her summon here only to cleanse off an element, and that's pretty much it. You're never really gonna have another time to use it. Also, yeah, there's another option to select. Make sure to hold my second treasure, because I knew that pretty much if I were to lose any form of that, this person's just gonna completely outvalue me with their cards. There we go. There's their second Boar Princess. They're gonna drop a Lumen Stone. There we go. Sealy, lots of stuff. Yeah, all the stuff you could ask for, really. But this is really a critical range. They got Lotus Crest off the top of their deck, and then they drop the Bennett Burst. Get a little bit of healing up in there. No fun for me, but that's okay. And there we go. We can drop one of these because I want to drop in Gamblers right here. There we go. Nice. There we go. Break through the Lotus, and now Kokomi's normal attacks are doing a ton of damage. My goodness. Especially if I drop a charge attack. There we go. Replace the Gamblers. That's the Bennett down. Lightning Strike coming down onto Nuviolette. Passing Judgment on the real Hydro God over here. Who is it now? It is Kokomi. And that is going to be GG's. Woo-hoo-hoo. Very fun with this deck. I had a lot of fun kind of going back to my roots on this one. Because, you know, it is a deck that is very near and dear to my heart as well as a character. You know, and one that is very storied in the TCG. So I'm very glad to see someone suggesting that. So again, if you want to leave a suggestion, go ahead and drop it in the comments. And now I have a ton of announcements to actually talk about because it is a very busy week and weekend for the TCG. You know, first off, starting off with the Prince Cup, the final Group D is going to be playing this weekend, literally hours after my video goes up. So be sure to check that out. I won't be casting, but my fellow casters, Windflower Leah, Blep the Cat, he's back from vacation, Sumi, and Rin Taicho will all be hosting the final Group D streams. We'll see the last 2 players who are going to make it to the Prince Cup. Additionally, you know, covering all those casters, the addition of Staffa and Rin Taicho on the EU side of things, and Kettle Toro on my side of things with Asia, is that the Catskills Gathering, because there's so many streams, is actually going to be held on our personal channels. So this right here on Kojo's TCG Kitchen, that's right, my friends, we're going to be hosting the the Cattails Gathering, you know, that the entire tournament on, you know, the channel. So that's going to be super awesome. You know, of course, Kettle Toro will also be with me. She'll be hosting on our Twitch channel. Rin Taicho and Staffa will both be hosting EU on their Twitch channel. And then Blep the Cat and Windflower Leah will be hosting it just on Blep's channel. You know, so we're going to be TCGing all weekend. And of course, once the next week rolls over, all the new cards are out that I just talked about earlier. So it's just going to be, it's going to be a freaking crazy week. Don't expect too many casual showcases in the weeks, or at least the first 2 weeks of the patch, because of course I'm going to be planning a stream and then also trying to test every single card and make guides for you all. You know, at the best of my ability. Again, be patient with me. I'm balancing a lot of other things. Of course, you know, as you know, I do a lot of other stuff outside of this channel. You know, I have my main channel that I have to take care of, and of course Genshin Impact has a new patch. There's actually a lot of content this time, so there's going to be a lot to do. But again, I hope you all enjoy this kind of stuff. And anyway, that is all from me. And let's not forget, of course, the most important part, the deck list itself. You can find it in the description. Go ahead and change out, you know, a few things of anything you want. But yes, that's all I have to say for you all. And thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.